Our next presentation is actually, I want to start this by saying, who do you think is the best startup CEO friend when the startup is growing? Does anyone have any clues? I don't have that much time to wait for the answer. So I think one of the best friends that startup CEO will have during their growth is basically a lawyer, because there's so many legal issues that you have when you're growing, when you're starting from a garage and growing into a multinational corporation incorporated all around the world. So please meet a partner of Raidla and Norcus, Elijus Burgis, who is going to give you a presentation on what kind of difficulties startup face and how lawyers can help them to minimize them. Please meet Elijus.
So, hello. I see the audience and they probably think, who is this guy? One of these boring lawyers who is going to tell us about complicated stuff, and at the end of the presentation he will tell us, you have to come to us, we'll explain, you'll have to pay a lot of money, but we'll save you. I'll try to be more creative, as we are in our law firm, and the reason I'm standing here, we are the law firm that actually works with startups. A lot of people would say this is impossible because startups don't have the money, and we are one of the largest firms, one of the most expensive, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us. But we do know the ways, and we do have an interest, because we think that this is something also worth our attention, and we have already found ways to work with startups. But instead of going into very technical, boring stuff, I will shoot some entertainment for you first. Okay, as usual. Somebody can help me? Okay, thanks.
It's the Industrial Revolution. No more decks, no more mainframes. That changes everything.
It's pretty cool, I guess. Hi, Charlie.
Cool.
Hello.
It's profound. How could you not tell me about this before?
No, I was just working on it for my own. It was a
Exactly,
hobby.
exactly. For your own. For you. It's what you wanted. It's what your gut and your instinct wanted. Your big evolved brain wanted something that didn't exist, and so you just willed it into existence. What do you call the system?
The operating system.
The operating system. And
That's
it just
what I call
shows
it. Yeah, it's just a real-time display of current operations.
you can see what you're working on while you're working on it.
Okay.
Don't you
Steve,
get
look.
this? This is freedom. This is freedom to create and to do and to build and as artists, as individuals.
Look, you're overreacting. Even if you were developing this for freaks like us, and I doubt you are, nobody wants to buy a computer. Nobody.
How does somebody know what they want if they've never even seen it?
So most of you will recognize Mr. Jobs, Mr. Wozniak, and the garage. Well, this is another garage, but the symbolics are there. They have started a business in the garage. They gave a definition to a startup which starts with something small and becomes something very big. And here we have an idea. An idea itself is not sufficient, as you know. Next to the idea, to develop, you need a capital. But we strongly believe that the third element in the development of a startup is legal support. And without those three elements, you will not end up in the success. So what does it take to build a startup? First of all, you have the stage of growth, the stage of incorporation, development, and this stage is, of course, very important. But naturally, in this stage, you don't have the money. And when you ask us, when do you need a lawyer? I would say definitely at an early stage. But do you need a sophisticated and expensive law firm? You'll be surprised. I will say not at this stage yet. However, it doesn't say that you should not think about important things at this stage, and possibly consult the lawyers, and the cheaper you can find, maybe your classmates or someone you know from early age can help you, but these are the issues you have to bear in mind when you are developing. So incorporation, first of all, you cannot work in a garage without any legal entity, without any understanding where you're going. You can invent things, but the next thing you want to take care of is the structure. The other things are naturally employment or consultancy and documents, which mean that you need to have people working for you under certain regulations. You have service agreements from the lease of premises to any kind of supply, etc. You have intellectual property rights, and here I want to stop for a while, because in many cases for startups these days, this is the area where you want to be very careful. You want to use whatever knowledge and resources you have to foresee that you will have certain inventions. You will have the wish to materialize these inventions. And in the modern world, you have to know that there are many other startups like yours working possibly on the similar things, inventing similar things. And if you want to really lock the value in a company, in the startup, you want to take care of these issues at an early stage and foresee that when you have the value, your invention will be protected. The other things you need to take care about is shareholders agreement. If you have different shareholders, different owners of the startup, you want to have an understanding of how you are going to work for a longer period of time, materialize the value, and not have disputes when you actually have that value. A lot of startups think that they have started from scratch. They do not need to document the relationships that they have. In most cases, these will be friends or good acquaintances who think that they will stay as friends forever. And of course, we as lawyers see all the other bad scenarios where friends become enemies because they didn't define their relationship from the very start. And when you have value, it is too late normally to discuss who has put what value into the company and who has to get which result. And of course, financing documents, again, at an early stage, you don't normally have a lot of financing, but if you do, you definitely have to take care of documentation under which you are working. The other stage is how you materialize the value, and you have different stages in the startups. You have financing, normally the very early stage when you have already built some kind of understanding of what the company is, and you have built possibly some value, but you're still too early to attract new shareholders or participants in the business. Then you may move to the stage where you are already having new participants, and these are normally venture capitalists or angel investors. But in general, this attraction of external financing and external participants is quite similar in terms of documentation and what you really need to think about. First of all, you normally start with a term sheet which defines general conditions. Then you normally want to, again, not to disclose your ideas and your know-how, which you have already accumulated in the startup, to an external parties, which may be your competitors or may become your competitors. So you normally enter into a non-disclosure agreement before you even start talking about details of your business. Then you talk about investment agreements and all kinds of different investment vehicles, from convertible loans or bonds to shares, but share subscription, share purchase, and eventually you may talk about the initial public offering, the IPO, which is always very attractive and method of getting more money into the business, but of course you do IPOs when the business is big enough. So in terms of venture capitalists, you normally think that these are good friends of yours and they work as good friends of startups. They have some experience, they offer support, they offer money, they offer big future, but you have to bear in mind that as one of the venture capitalists actually said, picking a venture capitalist is more permanent than marriage. And indeed, when you have certain documentation for the cooperation with the venture capitalists, you have to be careful, because if you pick a wrong spouse, at least you can get divorced. Which with a venture capitalist, you can get divorced, but not always it is an easy task. So you have understood that it's all very complicated, very scary, but you think, where is the solution? And the solution is, as I said, to talk to people who have experience, who have an understanding of how it works. And we think we are representing these kind of people, and of course we're not the only ones, but those that think that startups is part of our business can actually provide substantial support. So what we offer and what you would be looking for in cooperation with lawyers is, first of all, tailored solutions. Because it is very fair to say that the standard practice that most of the law firms, especially the larger law firms, have are not tailored to startups. We normally have to look into different working cooperation scenarios than we do with larger businesses, large corporations, and wealthy individuals. As I said, startups normally don't have that much money. They have a very big potential, everybody thinks, but this is something which is not a daily routine. Secondly, you need to look for people who are actually going to understand that your task is return on investment, and they will have to share this understanding with you. They will have to look into the perspective and try to help you to actually earn money, instead of just blocking the very bright ideas that you have by a bunch of papers and advice that it is all very risky and you should not do this, you should not do that. The other thing is legal fees, and here again we need a very new approach, and if you look into a worldwide experience and understanding how to deal with startups for traditional law firms that have not been used to, say, businesses that provide good potential but don't have that much yet. So we have to have a different structure. Hourly fees, which is a very standard billing method for law firms, doesn't work. It doesn't work because you don't know the budget, hourly fees are high, and you can end up paying huge amounts of money for something you cannot actually allow yourself. So the other things we can offer, and any startup should be looking at, is different structures from hourly fees. First of all, you can have capped fees, you can have success fees, you can have deferred fees. It's not completely different from the other scenarios that are available also for other businesses, but what are really different novelty solutions are the options or stock for the advisors, not necessarily only lawyers, but your advisors who help you to develop the business. Those structures can also be implemented. I would not say it's a very easy solution, but this is a possibility, and both lawyers and the startups should be thinking about it. And as I said, I'm not talking here on a theoretical basis. We have actually done quite a few startup financing and investment deals. For Lithuania, I think we are definitely the leader by the number. And we have told ourselves that this is the area we should be looking carefully into, even if we understand that it is not our traditional focus, which actually provides the best business and the most sustainable one. But this is something new. We like to be innovative. And for the very roundup, my advice to you is to be a practical little pig. You all know the tale of the three little pigs. One of them being a practical one, preparing for the future, building the good house, good startup, taking care of the documentation, taking care of the risky legal issues that always arise in the context. And unless you do that, when the wolf comes, you don't want to look like that. So thank you very much.